Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Welcome, everybody. I am so excited about this episode. Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Actually, VCast and going live. We're branching out, doing all kinds of great things. I am co-host Stephen Boster, along with the one, the only, and I need to pause a little bit while he takes a drink of his coffee, Mr. Michael Shanks. Mike, say hey to everybody.
Good morning to all you geeks out there in Geekdom Land. And I am on my third cup of coffee this morning, by the way.
Ooh, you should be ready for this episode. Hey, everybody. We are talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. And Mike and I watched the movie last night. He watched it in his home state of Missouri, and I am in no. You're in Illinois. Sorry, the east side of Illinois. Sorry, my bad. I'm just so used to thinking Missouri, so because it's St. Louis area, and then I'm up in
I am the St. Louis metro area, but I live on the Illinois side. Right. I associate more with St. Louis than I do Chicago.
Right.
So anyone listening, and when I say I'm from Illinois, no, I'm not from Chicago. Chicago,
right? Isn't that funny?
Much further away from me than St. Louis is. St. Louis is only 20 minutes away from me. So,
yes. So, hey, so here's the dealio. So, you guys, if we are going to give our review, non-spoiler review here at the very beginning, and then we will clearly state that, hey, we're going to move into spoiler territory because I am not capable of talking about this film and not talking spoilers.
I don't think we can do this without spoilers.
Right. And so if you want to watch the movie and come back to this, great. If you don't care about spoilers, you're more than welcome to join us. But here at the beginning, we are going to do our best to do a non-spoiler review of the new Spider-Man movie. And when we start off, I told Mike I was going to do this. Everybody, this is being recorded. It is live. This is not faked. Mike, you were right.
Wow. 2 episodes in a row.
2 episodes in a row. So we'll get into the whole reason of why he's right about some things. That's in the spoiler section.
I wasn't right about everything. I made a few predictions that were correct. I made one that was almost correct, and then one that was nowhere near correct.
Right. So, so needless to say, so let's get into this. So non-spoiler review, Mike, I want you to go first. And we'll give ratings like we normally do as well. And I'll let you pick, what you want to do it out of 5 of, and we'll just kind of go from there. How's that sound?
Let's see. So we're talking Spider-Man. Let's give it web shooters. I like
web shooters. I like it. Okay, web shooters.
So I love this movie. I have been saying for probably 6 months or more that I believe this will be the movie of the year.
Okay.
Okay. I did not, man. I should have looked up the sales on this movie, but I think this pretty much blew all of Marvel's previous movies out of the park as far as the opening sales go for this film.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you for a fact that I had troubles getting tickets. I may have waited slightly too long, but we barely got tickets, at least to be able to sit together. The 3 of us to go see the movie last night, and I thought this was incredible. I loved it. Incredible. Spider-Man Incredible. Is that one of his titles?
Amazing.
Amazing,
No, you think
spectacular.
Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, Incredible Hulk. Okay, amazing, spectacular. I can't think of all the titles, but anyway, yeah, I thought this movie was great. I loved it. I stand by my prediction that this will be the movie of the year. This
Okay.
may have become my favorite Marvel movie of all time. Yeah,
Okay.
I absolutely love this film. Um, so with all that said, and we had a discussion with Aaron on the Three Jokers episode
Uh-huh.
that we don't like to easily give out fives. I think it's easier for me to give a 5 on a comic book, and I gave a 5 on the Three Jokers,
The Three Jokers.
and I think it's well deserving of 5. And I so badly want to give this a 5. I really do, but I can't. I cannot give it a 5. There is a
Okay.
particular thing that happens in the film that Brenda actually reminded me walking out. I was like, "Oh yeah, there you just gave me a reason not to give it a 5."
Okay.
So, and I don't normally like giving points, but I am going to give it 4.9 web shooters out of 5.
Okay. All right.
So,
Well, here's the thing. It was a fabulous movie.
oh,
It is worth paying full price to see in the theater. It was the quickest 2.5 hours of my life. I was so engrossed in it. I didn't realize timing frame. There wasn't any moment once it got going, once we got beyond the whole, the beginning part that we've seen in the trailers, really, the whole aspect of everybody knows he's Spider-Man, and once they start doing the spell,
yeah.
from that point on, it was so engrossing that I didn't even look to see what time it was at any point in the film.
I don't think I looked at my watch once. I was
Mhm.
pretty engulfed in this film.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
you had a lot of characters thrown at you. And that's I don't think that I won't well, certain characters I won't get into because that would definitely be spoilers. But I mean, like the enemies, we pretty much saw. I think we saw all the enemies in the trailers, uh,
Mhm.
so that's
The
not so much of a spoiler.
Right. And I will say this, with the enemies, they just weren't thrown in for fan service. They were a part of the story.
Oh, they did a fantastic job.
Mhm.
One of the complaints that everyone had about Spider-Man 3 was, well, there was too many villains thrown at us at once. There's too many characters, too much character development, so on and so forth. I think this film and we've already kind of had this throughout the Marvel MCU movie universe. Um, they've done a fairly good job with the Avengers and having multiple characters and do a good job with the story. But I think this one was even better.
Mhm.
I'm going to say it much more better.
Time to drink.
um, yeah, I think this did such a good job at bringing in pretty much all of the villains that we know from
Mhm.
the previous Spider-Man movies.
Yes.
Um, uh, and it was great because you didn't have to do um, an origin for each one of the villains. They
Oh, right.
they just
Right.
came in and boom, that was it. It's like here
Yeah,
they are.
you didn't have to do any build up on any of them.
Yeah, and there was a lot of action between each of the villains and
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Yeah, I loved it. It was good. It was good. It flowed so well.
Yep.
Excellent movie.
So now wait a minute. Is this my part of the review or is this your part? No, just teasing.
Oh, sorry.
No, I just I better hurry up and give my score so we can discuss.
Yes.
So, not a perfect movie, but gosh golly, it was a good movie, really good movie, and so I will definitely give it a higher score. I do points, everybody, so I'll do the 4.75
Okay.
out of 10. Um, It was good, and as I said before, would I buy a ticket full price? Yes. Now now let me add a caveat. Then would I buy popcorn and soda? Well, by golly, yes, I did buy popcorn and chips, and I snuck in a soda.
Oh,
So
you deviant, you.
I did. I snuck in a soda. Actually, I snuck in 3.
Eh, that's all right. The girl next to us, I think she snuck in soda, snacks, and I don't know. She might have had a cheeseburger in there. I don't.
Right. So, but I did buy a big popcorn and nachos, and I think I'm still paying for that this morning.
We did buy popcorn and soda, of course.
Yep.
Yeah,
But it was worth it. I'm just saying it was worth it. That's how much I think people should go see this in the theater. Hey, do you know if they did an IMAX screening? Do they have IMAX screenings on this? If it is,
I have
man,
no
I can't
idea.
imagine.
I would think they probably did. I think all
Mhm.
the major Marvel films are getting those. I think.
Mhm.
I don't know. I could be talking out of turn there. I'm
Now,
not sure.
so I get it is worth seeing, everybody. It's worth buying full price at the theater. It just really is. It's that good of a story.
Oh, heck yeah.
Now, I do want to address this real quick because this is still part of our non-spoiler thing. Um, one of the things Mike and I were having discussions about was when Shang-Chi came out. I said, "Oh no, Shang-Chi was Shang-Chi was great. It's going to be better than the Spider-Man movie." Blah 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 blah. Because everybody knows I'm not really a big multiverse fan, but
Oh, let me cry a tear for you.
right, right. This multiverse was totally story driven, and it wasn't about multiverse. Oh, let's just retell something. No, it was let's weave in these multiverse stories into one cohesive story, and I felt like it was cohesive. And so, Mike, yeah, this is better than Shang-Chi. This is better than Shang-Chi. Even
Now,
my score should reflect that, actually.
I want to say I like Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi. I can't say that. I
That's okay.
like that movie. I did not think I was actually going to like that film, and I saw it and I thought this is a great movie. This is really. It was a
Right.
lot of fun. Very good movie. Spider-Man blows it away though.
It does. I mean,
And
that's really
as
good.
far as you in the multiverse, I have to say this. So the movie wrapped up and we were waiting for the credits. By the way, there are 2 end credit scenes. Make sure you stick around. I think if you're listening to us, you know a Marvel film, you should stick around for
Right.
end
There's the
credits.
mid credits and then there's the end
Yes.
credits.
Yeah, so definitely stick around and they are well worth sticking around for. Anyway, so we're in the credit scene and waiting for them. And Brenda looks at me and says, Steven's not going to like this because it's a multiverse story. I go, oh, no, 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 no. Steven's going to love this movie.
Right. Right. I will say, yeah, we'll get into that when we get the spoiler
Okay.
stuff. But anyway, I do want to say that, Mike, you were right. The Spider-Man movie is better than Shang-Chi. So if you
Well,
really
you're
like
saying
Shang-Chi,
that a lot in these last episodes.
yeah, that you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad we didn't put any money down.
I mean, it could almost turn into a drinking game for the last 2 episodes.
For every time Steven says, Mike, you were right, take a shot.
Take a shot.
Because you're not going to make it by the end of the episode. Especially this one, because we're not done with all the stuff that Mike's predictions that he did get right. And so we'll get into those spoilers because those are spoiler territory. The thing about Spider-Man, the other thing I want to talk about in this non-spoiler section is I heard review after review talk about how emotional this one was. And I was like, emotional? Oh, sweet, it's going to be heartfelt. No, it doesn't mean heartfelt. It means total emotional up and down in this film. It's and it's well done. It's not, hey, let me pull at your heartstrings just to pull at your heartstrings. It's all story driven part of the story, and it was it was well done. I do understand why people are saying it's emotional, but it's hard to talk about without moving into spoilers. But the aspect of you feel the tension that he's going through, that Peter Parker is going through. You feel that emotion, you feel the angst that he's going through, the interactions that he has, the struggle of being a teenager, that he is a teenager trying to deal with very adult situations and issues. You feel that pain that he's feeling, the decisions that he has to make, the where he really wants to make things right. He makes mistakes, stuff that we would do. I think it goes back to what we talked about in our prelude to No Way Home when we did that episode, the whole thing about him being a teenager, the way Stan Lee created him as a character that we all could relate to. Right. Kind of a thing, and very relatable, and that's what made it emotional without going into too much spoilers and stuff.
Yeah, I have to say there was only one scene. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I agree. It is, there are some very emotional moments, especially with Spider-Man and Peter Parker, and like you said, how he's interacting and trying to deal with some very adult decisions, which I guess I should say. But there was one scene I actually teared up on.
Okay.
Now, I didn't go full out Kevin Smith and bawling, like Kevin Smith. Of course, I think Kevin Smith sees a Transformer commercial and like, oh my gosh,
he's got an emotional. That's the difference. Everybody, you're just learning about a difference between Mike and I. I'm a very harmonizer kind of individual, or someone who, I like emotional stuff. Dude, I cried at the end of Gladiator.
What?
Yeah, it was a great emotion. Here's the hero, and all that kind of stuff.
I'm trying to remember the end of Gladiator. What made you cry there?
Oh, it was just the whole thing about, him, and then
but you didn't go all Kevin Smith, did you?
No, I didn't go all Kevin Smith.
My
or
gosh.
anything, but
man, that dude cries if, I don't know, if Spider-Man farted, he would cry. Dude, get over yourself. My gosh.
No, there's some people they interact with the world from an emotional standpoint. That's okay.
Yeah, and there's some people that use it to further their audience too. Anyway,
that would not be Mike, everybody.
No. But right. I did tear up on one scene. I will admit that I teared up.
Is that a spoilery scene? Do we need?
Yeah, that's a very spoiler.
So we'll get into. We'll get into yours. Maybe you could pull a Kevin Smith brouhaha for us while we get talk about that.
Just start bawling.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to happen. Sorry.
There is that scene in Sleepless in Seattle where Tom Hanks and his buddy, they start crying about the guns of Navarone.
Hey, I will admit when we had Paul Bateman on, and Paul Bateman was he got very patriotic with us on Justice League. Excuse me. Coffee's talking back to me.
Oh, okay.
he got pretty patriotic with us on Justice League, and coming from a Brit, man, that made me tear up on the episode. Yeah. So I had that moment, but I don't do Kevin Smith moments, and oh wow, a spider bit Spider-Man. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna. Sorry.
Right. It was a good. There are emotional moments in the film. So if you are someone who's touched by emotion, you will cry in this film.
And I'm not making fun of anyone who goes into the film and they get emotional over the film. There's
no. I just hear you making fun of those who overuse it for audience.
Yes, so and that would be good old Kevin Smith.
Okay, all right, right. Because there was several moments. It was very touching.
Oh yeah, I agree. There were touching moments in the film. I totally agree.
I teared up several times within it. just
Right.
feeling the emotion and stuff like that. I mean, I didn't cry, kind of a thing, but I will have to say in one section, it was funny because Troy got emotional, but not from a teary point of view. This is what he did in the theater. He leaned forward, put up his hands, and was like, "What?" Kind of a thing. I mean, it was awesome.
Nice. All right. Are we
All
going
right.
into spoilerific territory then?
Anything else you want to discuss? I'm trying to think if there's anything else before we hit spoilers.
No, I can't really.
No,
think.
I think that's fair enough to give the thing. So everybody, I gave it 4.75 out of 5. I said it is worth paying full price in the theater to go see.
I give it 4.9, and I totally agree. It's definitely worth the full price. Definitely.
All right, so we're going into spoiler territory, everybody. So if you have not seen the film, please stop watching now. And I am actually going to put a caption up as well to let everybody
The
know.
spoilers.
Spoiler talk.
All right. With that said,
Happening now. There it is. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to put that up so everybody knows that if they join the stream now, we're doing spoiler.
that's actually a good
talk.
idea. I like that.
And so when they know we're talking spoilers, they can hop out and stuff like that. All right. Well, okay. So here's how I want to handle this. What is your favorite part of the film? What was your favorite part to start off the discussion about spoilers? Because I really don't want to walk through the whole movie because there's so much, but we'll end up talking about stuff, kind of a thing. So I just want to talk
to pick a favorite part. That is so tough because I mean,
right.
there were so many
favorite part.
There were so many great villain moments, and granted, some of those villain moments we saw in the trailers too.
Yes,
like when Doc Ock, when he appears,
yeah,
and he says, "Hello, Peter."
right.
I love that scene, and yeah, I know that was in the trailers. We all saw it, and then of course after Peter kind of battles with Doc Ock for a while, which was a fantastic battle, by the way. I love that. And then Peter figures out that he could take control of Doc Ock's tentacles, which I was like, whoa, that is so cool. I love it. Well, he was able to take control because Doc Ock sees that Peter's got the iron spider suit, which has the spider legs attached.
Yeah, that was kind of fun where he says, "Oh, it looks like we have competition, boys."
Yes. Yes. I love that too. That was such a good man. Pretty much anything with Doc Ock was great in this movie.
I have to say this about Alfred Molina, the actor who played Doc Ock. It was almost like a direct sequel off of Spider-Man 2.
Oh, he did a fantastic job.
He did. He was just incredible. It was like he hadn't aged a day, kind of a thing.
Yeah. When he appeared, Brenda's like, "Holy cow, he looks just like he did in Spider-Man 2." And I'm like, they did a great job.
Let me say this real quick about his acting was phenomenal. His facial expressions, the whole bit. I mean, he did not just phone it in, and that goes for Hayden. Hayden Church, the guy who played Sandman. It goes for Jamie Foxx for Electro.
William Defoe.
But William Defoe, more than anybody else, it was just incredible.
Yeah.
William Defoe as Green Goblin coming back and playing that part again, he gave it everything.
I read something this morning that he said in an interview that when he was asked to come back for this, he said, "Look, if I'm coming back, I'm not coming back for just a cameo." He says, it has to be more than a cameo. He goes, because that's not worth my time.
Right.
And yeah, I'm glad they didn't just bring him in show his face, and then that's it. We're done with Green Goblin. You know, he was a major part of this film.
Yep.
He did an excellent job. Yeah, his acting was superb.
Yeah.
Loved him. Loved his character so much.
Oh my goodness, he played it so well.
Yep.
His acting was phenomenal. Playing the split personality, for lack of a better term, the split personality of the the meek Norman Osborn versus the Green Goblin.
As soon as he was doing that, and he had Aunt May, right on the hook, and right away I'm going, don't believe him. Don't believe him. You cannot trust him. And sure enough, yeah, you couldn't trust him.
Yeah.
he was the true bad guy of this movie.
Yeah, he was, because he was the catalyst of what, here's Peter trying to help them all to make a change, which is kind of interesting, which was the push from Aunt May. And I thought, okay, I like that. I like this part of the story. And then the whole spider sense thing, in Green Goblin, that's a good trick.
That's where we get into my this isn't a perfect film. Because we have that scene where MJ makes the comment, is your how did she say, is your tingler tingling, or I don't know, she said something really weird. And I went, oh my gosh, that's cringy. That is so cringy. And now, granted, it was funny. It was a funny moment, but at the same time, it was so cringy because it didn't sound right. Because it sounded like something else.
Was it a little inappropriate?
Right. And then they used it over and over again. I was like, okay, you can stop this now. So that's my little thing that did not put this over the top.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, I kind of forgot about it, and we were walking out of the theater, and Brenda brought it up again because she absolutely loved it. She thought it was hilarious. And I went, yeah, you just, because the whole time I kept going, okay, I don't want to give this a 5, but I need a reason why I'm not giving this a 5. And as soon as she said that, I go, bingo, there it is. That's it. Why it doesn't get a 5.
Okay. So you enjoyed the whole introducing Doc Ock. I'm coming back to what our favorite scenes are.
Oh,
the whole thing with Doc Ock was great.
And then, of course, Green Goblin's appearance was amazing.
Right.
I mean, just all you see is the pumpkin bomb come rolling across the bridge, and immediately, like, you're like, oh crap.
Right.
Crap just got real.
Yeah.
Because this Peter Parker has seen some major adversaries throughout his tenure as Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But he hadn't seen anything like the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
And I have to say, in the Marvel Universe, I think Spider-Man has the best rogues gallery. I would compare that to...
That's a big statement from you.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. And I would compare that to Batman, which I think Batman has the best rogues gallery over on the DC side.
Okay.
And I would put Green Goblin up as Spider-Man's greatest enemy, just as the Joker is Batman's greatest enemy.
Okay.
So seeing Green Goblin in this, seeing him portrayed by William Defoe, was just fantastic.
Yep.
That just, man, that puts this movie... Well, I can't say that alone puts this movie over the top, because we have other moments that are coming. So,
all right, okay. So, all right. So, one of my favorite parts was when Ned's doing the whole thing with the sling ring thing, kind of a thing. And he says, "Bring me Peter Parker," kind of a thing. And then all of a sudden, we get spoilers. Everybody, that's why we're doing spoiler talk.
So,
Andrew
I have
Garfield,
been saying for months. I have been saying for months now that we were going to get all 3 Spider-Mans.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to get Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland in this movie. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, we got all 3 Spider-Mans. and
Yep.
it was glorious.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. It was
loved
great.
it. Oh,
And it wasn't just cameos. It was part
oh
of the story.
no, they had good appearances. They
Good
were
interactions.
good interactions with Tom Holland. Loved it. Loved it. Yes. So like you said, we have Henry, and he does the whole Doctor Strange thing, and boom, they see Spider-Man, but
Right.
it's not their Spider-Man. It's the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Yep. Yeah.
And then he
Yes.
walks in like, what's going on?
What's happening? Yeah, and there was good interaction there, and then he does it again, and then here comes Tobey Maguire.
Well, wait a minute. We get the moment where they're wanting him to prove that he's
That he's
really
Spider-Man.
that he's actually
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and he just like sticks to the ceiling, which is funny because he's a pretty tall guy actually. He
Yeah.
pretty much could just reach the ceiling. But yeah, he sticks to the ceiling, and MJ's like, "Yeah, that's not enough. You need to crawl around." He's like, "No, I'm not doing that." At least until Henry's is Henry or no, not Henry. Ned.
No.
Ned. I don't know why I
Yeah.
was saying Henry. Ned's is it his grandmother? I
It
think it's
seemed like it was his grandma. I'm not for sure.
yeah. When she starts talking to him and telling him, "Oh, can you clean off those spider webs?" So then he crawls across the ceiling, and yeah, we get that moment. Oh, we got somebody else popped in.
Sir John saying hello.
Hello, old boys. So,
Hello, Sir John.
hello, Sir John. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. So yeah, I loved it when Andrew Garfield dropped in. I thought that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent scene.
Yep.
So
It's where they had then with Tobey Maguire coming in, with both of them coming in as the Spider-Man. That was one of my favorite parts. I was like, okay, and that they were story driven. It wasn't just cameos.
oh sure.
It was they were part of the story, and
Now
I
I have
enjoyed.
to
I was
say
happy to see that.
when Tobey Maguire dropped in. Oh, Sir John's saying something. Uh,
I liked it, but it was boring in the in between scenes.
wow, really? See, I wasn't. I never got bored during the whole movie. Wow, that's fascinating. I was yeah, I was stuck to the screen the whole time. I loved it. But anyway, yeah, when Tobey Maguire dropped in, I was just slightly disappointed
In what
because
way?
he wasn't wearing the spider suit, and I'm like, really? Are we getting just Peter Parker and
Right.
no Spider-Man here?
Yeah, I did like how they said later on. They said when they were getting everything together, they were finishing
Okay.
getting all the stuff. They were like, "Hey, are you still? Do you have your suit, or are you going to just go with a cool youth pastor look?"
Yes, that was a fantastic line.
I thought it was just
Absolutely
setting
love
up for that. You
it. And
know,
then he kind of just moves his shirt a little bit
yeah, I
to
got my suit
reveal,
on.
I got the suit. I got the suit.
Yeah.
I'm going, okay, all right, we're good here. So, Sir John just made another comment. Put his comment up a minute.
Oh, sure. So
He says the dynamic of Ned and MJ and Peter is too Disney Channel for him. Now, I think I get what you're saying there, but you got to remember this is a young Peter Parker, and so yeah, I think we're gonna have a little bit of that. I was okay with it, but I get what you're saying. Now, since you brought that up, though, I have to say when this series when the whole Tom Holland series began, I was not a fan of MJ. I didn't like her, and I will admit that. But she has won me over. I really liked her by this movie.
mhm.
I thought she was great in this one. Um, and I think part of that is because the part of the reason I didn't like her in the beginning is because she's not the MJ I know. She's not Mary Jane, but we also know that she isn't Mary Jane. She's Michelle something. I forget. Anyway, but she's not Mary Jane. And that makes me feel a little bit better because I'm like, okay, well, she's not MJ that we know, or well, me as a classic comic book Spider-Man fan knows. That made me feel a lot better about her. So, thank you.
Michelle Jones. Thank you.
Sir John says Michelle Jones. But apparently she also has the Watson name, which I don't quite understand. So if somebody can explain that one to me, that would be great. Because she says I don't like to use the Watson name, so I don't really understand that. But because Mary Jane is Mary Jane Watson. But anyway, yeah. So where were we going? We got.
So we were talking about our favorite parts and stuff. So the introduction to the Spider-Mans was mine. The first thing we talked about was your introduction. We talked about Doc Ock, and then especially the acting, and then going into Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Then I
would say my next would be the introduction of the other two Spider-Men into this Spider-Man universe. Yep. I thought it was done great, and I thought the interaction was fantastic. Yep. So what's her name? Jones. Yeah, Sir John just asked Michelle what's her name, Jones. Yeah, her name is Jones, but she says in the film somewhere that her name is like Michelle Jones. Yeah, Michelle Jones Watson, but she doesn't use the Watson name.
Right. So, I do want to move into this spoiler part. Something that you called a long time ago, and I didn't believe you, was and it didn't come into play like you said it would, but it still came into play, was, oh yeah, right there when the cops are talking to him, that's going to be Matt Murdock.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, no way. No, it's not going to be Matt Murdock. And I was right. It wasn't Matt Murdock. But sure enough, right after that, when they're back at the apartment, sure enough, who's sitting there with them?
Matt Murdock. And we get a great Daredevil moment because somebody throws a brick through the window and he catches the brick. And
before Peter Parker does.
Right.
And Peter Parker end up too.
Peter Parker's like, how did you do that? Because I'm a good lawyer.
I'm a good lawyer. Right.
Because Peter Parker doesn't know Daredevil. So yeah. So if you guys were listening to our last episode, we did our Hawkeye episode 5 breakdown and review.
And the big reveal on that one. Spoilers. We are talking spoilers, everybody. If you have not seen,
we are talking spoilers. So this is a spoiler.
Turn off your audio for about 30 seconds.
Right. Spoiler to the Hawkeye episode, but Hawkeye was, or in the Hawkeye episode, we got revealed that Kingpin is the big bad in the Hawkeye episode.
Yeah.
And so now we got Matt Murdock introduced in the Spider-Man. And like I said over in the Hawkeye episode, Kingpin is the linchpin to the Marvel universe right now.
Yeah.
He's going to connect everything.
Yeah.
And I think when you bring Daredevil into the movies and you got Kingpin into the TV series, somewhere they're going to collide. So
yeah, I enjoy Charlie Cox's rendition of Daredevil.
I agree, Sir John. Sir John said Michelle Watson's her name. Jones is her name from her dad's side. Too complicated.
Right.
Yeah, I totally
agree. So what I was saying that Charlie Cox was the one. His rendition of Daredevil, I really enjoyed, and I was glad to see that.
Yes.
I was glad to see his. I'm looking forward to seeing how they handle that and what they do with it.
Now,
good to see.
His appearance was pretty much just a cameo, but
yes, it was.
It was done so well. It was,
it made sense.
It had purpose. It had purpose within the movie. It had an introduction for him into the Disney Plus era. So yeah, I thought it was great. Excellent. Yep. Not just we're going to throw in his face, look, Matt Murdock's in this universe. No, he actually had a purpose. Loved it.
So Sir John is saying Daredevil was the TV version of cocaine. My first time rewatching a series more than once.
Nice.
Yeah, agreed.
Daredevil's
Agreed.
well worth watching more. That's a great series.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well done. I
Yep.
love that series.
So I would say that was another part that I wanted to bring up in our spoilery talk was that they brought that in, and with that coupled with what they revealed in Hawkeye, I'm excited to see where they go with what part of Netflix MCU are they bringing over to Disney Plus MCU.
Right. Me too.
So that's going to be interesting. All right. So the other thing I want to talk about. Oh wait, I'm sorry. It's your turn. It's your turn. So we're going back and forth on our favorite parts and things we want to talk about in the spoilery part and stuff. Where was the part that you teared up at?
Okay. So this is skipping ahead a bit, but we have the scene which almost matches the Gwen Stacy scene from Amazing Spider-Man when she is falling to her death, and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man tries to save her and he can't.
No. Tom Holland Spider-Man. He jumps down and as
No. The Gwen Stacy scene.
Oh,
in
right.
Amazing
Right.
Spider-Man.
I'm sorry. I thought you were coming back to this
Right,
one. Sorry.
right.
Yes. In the Amazing Spider-Man episode, he can't save Gwen Stacy.
Right. He can't save Gwen Stacy. So in this movie, we have MJ who is falling. Tom Holland can't get to her, and Andrew Garfield swoops in and saves her the way he would have saved Gwen Stacy. And that was the moment I teared up.
Yeah.
Because you had that moment of, well, I couldn't save her, but at least I was able to save MJ for this Peter Parker.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a great scene.
It was a fabulous scene. I agree with you. I thought, oh, we're going to get a repeat, but this time he's going to save her. You know, that's how I thought it was going to play out. So when Tom Holland's Peter Parker jumps down and he's going after, I'm like, yeah, he's going to save her. We're not going to have the same scene. And then all of a sudden the Green Goblin hits him and knocks him out of the way. I'm like, oh no. And then to see Andrew Garfield do it, that Spider-Man do it, that Peter Parker do it and save her, I agree with you, was a better outcome.
Right.
It really was. It was a better outcome because you gave redemption to one character, just like you said. I do like how you said that. If I wasn't able to say, you know, I can save this MJ for this Peter Parker. And that was great. And that leads into another thing I want to talk about later, but we'll get into that. But the whole thing about redemption arcs. But I do agree with you. I do agree that was a great scene, that whole thing. And his emotion, you saw Andrew go, you know, they already developed the character within the film. And that as within the film, they're sitting there saying, you know, Andrew Garfield was already struggling with that relationship. And he was struggling with that relationship. It paid off at that moment. So they even set up for it. And so that's why I thought it was good storytelling.
Okay. Sir John's got a comment here. At this point, where can we, whatever, the screwdriver, a magic
All right, I'll put it up so everybody can see it because you're here we go. So everybody says, can we comment on some MCU logic? They are at this point where they can do whatever. With a screwdriver, a magic tooth, you can make a transformer, it seems.
That's a hilarious comment.
That's funny. It may have something to do with it. I think they're just trying to tell stories and figure out how they want to tell stories really well and just kind of go with that. So,
well, and I think that falls into the whole, what have we said in the past? You have to have your moment of suspension of belief, you know.
Right.
I think that's where Sir John's going with this. I'm not sure. Can't speak for him, but you were going to say something, Steven.
Well, I was just saying I agree in that aspect where there's this MCU logic, but I do.
Well, it's probably like for Doctor Who fans out there, reverse the polarity.
Okay.
I mean, anything in the Doctor Who universe that something is happening. All of a sudden, we hear reverse the polarity, and that'll fix it.
That'll fix it
Um,
all.
it
Right.
could be one of those moments. You just have to have your malarkey, you know, goofball type thing.
Yeah, I'm one where I don't need movies to be super logical as long as we get good story and good entertainment.
Yeah, and I
You know,
felt we did out of this.
um, so here, Sir John's kind of commenting back, everybody, where he says, "Do you know the Carl logic? I do not." It's a Ricky Gervais joke where he says, "Time travel wristwatch. How does it work? You pop it on your wrist." That's not what I asked. So I'm not familiar with that joke actually. Ricky Gervais is pretty funny though. I, I understand. Hey, we can just fix it or rewind it or whatever, but I think they're trying to. Well, that's part of the whole multiverse thing. I think too. They're trying to tell the stories they want to tell and have a way to do it. And I'll be open with you, even though I don't like multiverse stories. I think the way that the MCU is doing multiverse stories is actually story driven.
Oh, I agree. I
And
agree.
so
This isn't just an excuse to fix something here, which a lot of times multiverse is used for. DC's used it many times, and Marvel's been guilty of it too. They both have done it to where, oh, well, we've gotten ourselves into a corner, so we'll just erase everything and start over, and we blew up this universe, but we'll go to the next, and yeah. So, but I think, yeah, with the movies, they've done a very good job. It's been very cohesive and story driven.
yeah, and this one especially.
Oh my
I will
gosh,
say
yeah.
this is probably my favorite multiverse story ever because it's all story driven. And
Well,
I got the other Spider-Man and I got the other villains
I,
all in one. It was like taking the best of all the Spider-Man trilogies and wrapping it into one.
okay, I'm gonna say this is probably my or my favorite multiverse story on the Marvel side, not on the DC side. It still does not surpass Flashpoint.
Um,
But Flashpoint,
Flashpoint is a good story. Flashpoint is a good story.
oh
We
my gosh.
we have our episode of that. Everybody, you can go back to our podcasts and listen to us discuss Flashpoint. Um, uh, I can easily agree with you as far as Marvel side, DC side, but I still think this is. I do think I enjoy this as better than Flashpoint for
Well,
me.
let's wait for the next Flash movie.
Good point. Good
I am
point.
so excited about that. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah,
not going to be full out Flashpoint. We know that because
right.
we know we're not getting the Thomas Wayne Batman, which part of me is extremely disappointed with that. But
Mm-hmm.
at the other hand, I'm so excited about Michael Keaton returning as Batman because if you've listened to us in the past, he is my favorite Batman. He is my favorite on-screen movie Batman. I'll say.
Okay, I understood.
So,
Right.
but yes, this is a fantastic multiverse movie, and
It's well done.
it's going into an even bigger picture with the next
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange movie, which we'll get into that spoiler in a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's
So
Sir John saying now?
he's just saying he feels like Kevin. I assume Kevin Feige gives the writers how the movie should begin and end, and the writers try to figure out what to do in the middle.
Good point.
I
I'm
don't
glad he feels more like Kevin Feige, not Kevin Smith, and he wasn't crying.
Right. Okay. One of the other points here's what I thought you were going to talk about. How did you feel about Aunt May?
Okay, so we get the Aunt May spoiler.
I got spoiler talk happening.
Right.
I got it up now, so we're talking spoilers, everybody. So just
we get we get an Aunt May moment that's pretty much Uncle Ben. Okay, and she even gives the Uncle Ben line. With great power comes great responsibility.
mm-hmm.
I I don't feel it's as strong as the Uncle Ben storyline, but I like it. I thought it was good. It was very emotional for Peter. It gave some gravitas to his character.
You said gravitas. I need to drink.
Gravitas. So I said a $3 word there. Yeah. Well, that was something we really didn't have with this Peter Parker,
That
and
is true. We did
which
not have that. And I always took it as we didn't really we just skipped over it. I thought we just skipped over it. And I was kind of glad we didn't have another Ben moment, kind of thing. But
right, but that is what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man.
yeah, it is what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man.
What? Sir Johnson.
Oh,
Move Toothpick MJ out of the way and give me some anti.
right.
That's too funny.
I did like how Iron Man said, you've got a hot Aunt May.
I know. Okay. All right. Sir John's probably going to disagree with me on this, but that's been one of my pains of this Spider-Man series is Aunt May's not supposed to be hot. that bugs me. That really bothers me.
Universe. It's in the new MCU.
I know. I've accepted it, but I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird,
Yeah. I did like how you're right, how we did get the Uncle Ben moment with Aunt May. And I liked even how they tied in with the two Spider-Men with the other two, how they made that connection.
Yes.
That again, another story connection that was really good.
Yeah. They did a great job explaining their moments their with
Uncle Ben and how they did understand.
And with Gwen Stacy's death, because with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Uncle Ben is more his, this is what happened. This is, why I'm Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, Andrew Garfield, the Gwen Stacy death is not why he's Spider-Man, but it's kind of why he continues. So, you get the motivation behind all of the characters, all the different Spider-Men.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was done really well. I like that.
Yeah. I loved how they finished the sentence. She told me with great power, and they're like, comes great responsibility.
How did you know that?
Yeah. It was just a great scene. It really was.
We're you. That's how we know that.
Right. Now, I do want to share how that connection is the understanding of this new redemption arc about how they were, Spider-Man said, Tom Holland, Peter Parker stated he just wanted to kill, because of what happened to Aunt May, he wanted to kill the Green Goblin.
Right.
And Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker stated, I did it and it still didn't help. You know what I mean? It still didn't bring any kind of healing for him. And so so with that, he was like, hey, when he was going to kill him, when Tom Holland at the end was going to kill Green Goblin, then all of a sudden, here's the other redemption. Tobey Maguire comes in. So we get redemption for Andrew Garfield. And with Andrew Garfield, we get it. And then he gets it saving MJ, but then we see Tobey Maguire stop Tom Holland from killing the Green Goblin, and you see that redemption arc to save him from the pain of that.
Okay, now I want to get into that, but before we do, Sir John, I'm not commenting on that because that'll get me in trouble with my wife. Did you see his comment? He wants to see a pay-per-view with Kate Bishop's mom mud fighting with Aunt May.
Oh,
that was pretty funny comment.
That's funny.
No comment on
Black Widow's mom and Angelina Jolie. So Black Widow's mom was Rachel Weisz.
Yes.
Angelina Jolie in the undercard. That's funny.
That's hilarious. With the whole Peter Parker stopping him from killing Green Goblin,
Mm-hmm.
we almost got another one of my predictions. In fact, I even cheered in the theater when it happened because Peter Parker gets wounded by the Green Goblin.
Tobey Maguire.
Or
Tobey
yeah,
Maguire, Green
yeah.
Goblin, or Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker. Yes.
Oh my gosh, the three Spider-Mans are getting my head all messed up. Yes,
That's
the
all right.
Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker gets injured by Green Goblin. I thought they were going to kill him off there. I really did, and
I did too.
that was one of my predictions. I
Mhm.
predicted that they would kill the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man to round out his story, which I thought would be great. Actually, I was all on board for that idea.
Hmm.
Um,
When
as
it
long as
happened,
it's a hero's death and not death by peanut allergies,
right. I would say that at first I was like, oh man, they're gonna go there, and I'm like, okay, I get it, I understand. But then they just kind of made it, oh, he's just it's just a flesh wound, kind of a thing or something. So they didn't show you where he got hit because I think they wanted to continue. Hey, he needs to go back to his universe.
Well, and I think they wanted to give the illusion that they were killing him. So
in the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. So I
And
wasn't.
maybe they did. Maybe they did. Maybe they filmed a couple of ways. They did some test audiences, and they were like, "I don't like this," or they didn't have the phone in. Hey,
That's
just like
possible.
we did with Batman with Robin. Should we kill off? The death in the family. Should we kill him off or not? They didn't,
killing off Jason Todd.
right. Should we kill off Jason Todd? Should we kill off the Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker?
Well, now, okay, and when I say I cheered, I wasn't cheering so much for Toby's death. Because I do enjoy his Spider. I like all three Spider-Mans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
do
gonna
too.
lie. I enjoy all three of them. I enjoyed all the movies, although I will admit Spider-Man 3 is not a great movie, and Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is not the best, but I still enjoy all of them. But I cheered only because I thought, yes, I got that prediction right. And then I was like, oh, okay. All right, I can accept it.
Right.
It's all right. So
The that was a part of that redemption arc, which I really liked. Now, let me ask you this: you kind of led into it. You talked about Spider-Man 3, and what Spider-Man 3 could not do, I think No Way Home did, and that was bring in multiple villains.
yes.
Spider-Man 3 just couldn't do it. It was too much. You couldn't get the story and stuff. And I don't know if that's because of, hey, we had this background. We didn't have to worry about the backgrounds of all these characters, which may have been. But in No Way Home, they really did bring them in as part of the story. And I thought that was really well done. And that's what.
Okay, so in Spider-Man 3, I mean, you had the explanation of what happens to Sandman, and I gotta admit, I never cared for making him Uncle Ben's killer. I hated that actually. That was something about that movie. I'm like, yeah, I don't like this. I don't see the point of making this guy Uncle Ben's killer. Yeah, I liked it better when we just didn't know who his killer was. I thought it was better. And then of course I was looking so forward to Venom because I'm a huge Venom fan. Yeah, and Venom in that movie is just not good. He's not good at all.
Right.
Hobgoblin, you got Harry as Hobgoblin. I preferred the Green Goblin. I preferred his dad. Yeah, so I don't know. I think the villains were subpar in that one, which is probably why they only brought back Spider-Man, or I mean Sandman, for this one. Because I mean, you got both Lizard and Electro, and Electro is a huge improvement in this movie over his uh I won't say portrayal because Jamie Foxx did fine. Just the character overall, the character was not done well in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I thought Lizard was done great in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but
Right.
yeah. Yeah, Lizard was in 2, wasn't he? Or was he?
I'm so confused right now.
Yeah, now I'm second guessing myself. I can't remember if he was the villain in the first one or the yeah, I
Right?
don't anyway.
It's all right. So, yeah, that's funny.
My head's starting to hurt.
I know, right? We're and we don't even have Aaron with us in this episode.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, just imagine we had Aaron in the mix of this.
Right?
I think my head would explode then.
Right? Oh my goodness. What did you think about Doctor Strange in this episode or in this film?
Oh, Doctor Strange was amazing. I loved him. I love him every time I see him though. And you know, that and it's funny because I was never a Doctor Strange fan. I never got into the character. I really didn't know anything about him. In fact, when his first movie came out, I did not go see it in the movie theaters because I didn't think I was going to like it. And Megan and I actually watched it at home, and I was just like, "Wow, this is actually a really good movie." So, and I fell in love with the character after that. I thought he was incredible. So to have him in this was just fantastic.
Right.
And I loved when they show up at the at the Doctor Strange sanctum, and I can't believe we're in the sanctum. Yeah, I can't believe you're in the sanctum either.
Right.
It was such a great line.
Right.
And then of course you got the whole Scooby Doo this crap.
Right. Please. Scooby Doo this crap.
That was a great line too. I loved it. I loved it.
Sir John says, after watching Spider-Man 2002, I was surprised how much of a New York film it is.
Oh,
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I don't know. I think Spider-Man's done. I think the movies have all the Spider-Man movies have done pretty well at portraying New York as the background to Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I liked how we got the moment in this one where they're like, we got to find Peter. So I like to go hang out, and when I want to be by myself, I like to go be on the Empire State Building. And then the other one was like, where did he say? I can't think. I think which building it was. He said
The Chrysler Building.
The Chrysler Building. Okay, and then his Tom Holland's is on top of the school.
Right. I like.
Which is also funny because when they said that, you know, I should have connected it right away because we had that moment earlier in the film when him and MJ are on the roof, and he's like, "Man, I just got to get away from, you know, everything's so crazy down there." But I actually, when they said, "Well, where would he be?" and you know, they're like, "Oh, Chrysler Building, Empire State Building," and I went, "Statue of Liberty." Because I was like, okay, what's another iconic New York high, you know, platform that he would be on? And so my thought was Statue of Liberty, and then it's like, oh well, shoot, yeah, I should have known it was the school.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, we get the Statue of Liberty, although we get the quote unquote new Marvel Statue of Liberty where she has Cap's shield, which was pretty funny.
It was pretty funny.
I like that.
Yeah. Yes, it was. It was funny. Oh my goodness. So, what other aspects of the movie do you want to talk about? What other things were there that you like? Oh, I have to talk about this. I got to discuss this. Because then we need to move into the mid-credit scene and then the end-credit scene.
I did enjoy also seeing the 3 Peter Parkers, being, you know, scientific. Okay. Yeah. It may be a little reverse the polarity moments there. But you know, it was displaying the fact that all 3 of them have these science abilities, you know, so on and so forth, that they're actually scientists. So I enjoyed that. That was fun, you know, seeing all 3 of them use, you know, their different skills. Yeah, that was another cool thing.
I did like how they teamed up, how they even stated in the we're so used to working alone. And I was like, oh, I was part of the Avengers. I'm like, who are they?
Like, what's
we're happy
for you? In a band?
Yeah.
That was
Yep.
awesome. Yeah, because the Avengers didn't exist in their universes. So
Excuse me. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
Well, I thought that was a great line too, and a great moment. Because they're right. None of them were used to working with others.
Mm-hmm.
They've all the other two have always worked alone.
Yep.
So yeah, it made complete sense. And he's technically never been alone. You know,
Yeah.
he's either had Iron Man by his side, or if he hasn't had Iron Man, he's had one of the Avengers with him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so he's technically never really alone. Um,
Right. So I would say that with this the brotherhood of the Spider-Man was a great another emotional moment within the film. And I thought that
Agreed.
was really good.
Agreed.
What was that? All right. So what do you think about the old end credit scene? Because I've been dying to ask you about this. The end credit. No, excuse me, the mid credits.
Mid
The
credit scene.
mid
Oh,
credit scene I was dying to ask you about to get your opinion on and see what they did or how they handled it.
well, again, I'm huge Venom fan.
Yes. Yeah.
So getting Eddie Brock back again at the end or at the mid credit scene, just picking up right off where he left off at the end of Venom. Yeah, mind blowing. I'm like, yes, yes, bring Venom into Spider-Man. Yes, I want to
Mhm.
see this. I want this I want this to happen. And then Venom explaining to Eddie Brock the whole snap moment and what was going on, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yep.
My only
Yep.
question is,
Uh-huh.
who's the next symbiote? Because when he
Maybe left there.
leaves, there's a piece of the symbiote is there on the counter of the bar. So
Mhm.
who's the next symbiote?
Well, is it
That's
Venom or is it
well, it's
is it
not
the
Venom.
Venom?
It's not Venom. It's going to be
Well, I
another
guess technically
offspring.
it wouldn't be, right.
Right. It'd be another offspring because Carnage is an offspring of Venom. So
Right.
it'll be another offspring of Venom, but I don't know who it is. I know there's so many symbiotes in his universe. So there's there's multiples that it could be. I'm not so caught up on the current Venom that I know all the big symbiotes at the time. That
Mhm.
it could possibly be, but I'm excited for the possibility of another symbiote coming into the picture and who it could be and what he's going
Mhm.
to bring to the game. Are we going to have a moment of that symbiote comes into the Spider-Man universe and we actually have Spider-Man and Venom? I mean, not right away, of course. We're going to have a moment of tension between Venom and Spider-Man. We got to have that. But
Mhm.
then do we get a team up between Spider-Man and Venom versus whoever the other symbiote is? That's what I'm excited for. So
That would be cool. That
yeah,
would be cool.
yeah.
Yeah, but it looked like he got zapped back to his timeline or to his universe.
Well, did he?
Mhm.
I don't know.
Because he was like, "Oh, you got to pay the bill," and they're like, "What's happening?" And then they get
But we don't know that he went back to his universe. We don't know where he went to.
sure. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
and if they're going to give that scene, why would you give that scene if we're not going to get a Spider-Man versus Venom moment?
Yeah,
It
I don't know.
seems ridiculous.
Right. So I would say it
Oh,
was.
that's a good question.
Go
Did
ahead.
you see? Here, let's. So Sir John says, since we are doing multiverse, what will their excuse be of not having the Avengers in Sony movies? At this point, we left it to Feige. Um, yeah, I think it just sets up Venom in the MCU without Tom Hardy.
That I think that's possible. I agree with that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good actually. That's a good answer. Yeah, Sir John, I have no answer to that. I I don't know what the excuse would be. Uh, I mean, other than we are in different universes. Obviously, Venom is not in the same universe as Spider-Man, just as the other two Spider-Man didn't know who the Avengers were. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the only thing I have. And Venom is getting the story, or Venom's giving the story. Yeah, how does Venom know? And uh, um, he doesn't know. How does Venom know all this?
Well, Venom. Remember Venom at the very end of the Venom film? We talked about this. You discussed it, where it was the whole thing. Hey, I'm going to show you all these possibilities, or you can't handle
Well,
all
that's
the
true.
how long we've been around and all that kind of stuff.
So
And
yeah,
then,
I guess he's just seen it and
mm-hmm,
he's witnessed it. I guess so that would explain
mm-hmm.
how he has the knowledge of it. And yeah, okay, all right,
Yeah,
I'll
that's my
roll with
thought.
it.
That's
That's
my
your
thought on
thought,
that.
and you're sticking to it.
Yeah, something like that. All right. End credits. End credit scene. The very end. How many people in the theater left? How many people in the theater left
Uh,
after?
we had quite a few that left, which always shocks me. I'm like, really? This is a Marvel film. You should know better. Do not leave until
Mm-hmm,
you know until the
mm-hmm.
end. So, yeah, we had quite a few that left, and yeah,
Yeah. So about a quarter, well, at least 10% of the theater left when the movie ended and did not wait for the end credit or the mid credits. And then when the mid credit scene, there was only a quarter of the audience left because I looked because we were sitting in front and I turned around and there wasn't, there was a quarter of the place was left.
yeah. We were sitting in the back row, so we could see anyone that left.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
And then of course I had the moment when the credits start rolling and you got the animation playing, and we got the three is a magic number song from Schoolhouse Rock, I believe, playing, which I thought was fantastic. I thought it
It
was
was good.
a great song for the end of this movie.
Yep.
Um, but that's rolling, and I got these jerks standing up in the aisle in front of us. I'm like, can you move? You know,
Right.
that's fine. You're done. Either leave or sit down. Cause yeah, this is a
Right.
Marvel movie. Come on,
Right.
give me a break. I,
Yeah.
if I would have had Spider-Man's web
Web
shooters,
shooter.
I would have shot him right in the face. Oh, that was one other thing I forgot about. I
What's that?
love the moment when they're talking about the web shooters.
Oh,
And,
right.
and we get the Tobey Maguire,
It's
he
coming
does
out of you.
right. And they're freaking out. They're like, what? We have to make our own webbing and everything. Do you ever run out? Because we run out. And that was actually one of my critiques of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I never liked the fact that he could naturally spin the web. And I know there's been some comic book versions where he could do that, but
Mm-hmm.
I always felt that the web shooters added more to the Spider-Man character. One,
Well, how smart he is.
right. One, how smart he is, that he could develop something like this. And two, it wasn't unlimited, you know. So there would come a point where he's battling and he runs out of webbing. And all of a sudden, he cannot rely on the webbing. He has to use his smarts to figure out how to get out of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always thought that's something that adds to the Spider-Man character, and I always felt that took away from the Tobey Maguire one. So I never liked that, but I love the fact that they address it in this film.
Yes,
I thought it was fantastic.
it was really good. Yep,
And then
agreed.
they even well, do you shoot webbing anywhere outside of your body?
Right, because we were all thinking it.
Right, because a spider, you know where it actually comes from.
Yep, yep.
Oh, that's a good question. Sir John asked, with the Disney Plus shows, will all movies be semi team ups from now on? Um, good question because
I
it
don't
kind
know.
of looks like it looks like it's heading in that direction.
I think it's I would say semi team ups is a great term for it because here's
Yeah,
why. I think it's what they're going to use to make connections to the other shows to get you watching the other shows.
true.
So very much like how we've guests on, or we've had guests on our shows, and we're you're going to do a big team up
Yeah, we're
soon.
making plans to team up with the nerdery.
Nerdery murdery guys.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's the same kind of thing to get you interested in the other ones, or if you think it's something that you may like, at least you've been introduced to it, kind of a thing. I think that's what they've done with Hawkeye with Echo.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
is to do that, in the
Well, and I
Hawkeye.
have to say, I didn't know who Echo was before Hawkeye, and now I'm interested. If
Mhm.
they would have just introduced the Echo show, it sounds funny, Echo show.
Right.
But if they would have just introduced her show, and I am glad mine didn't go off.
Right.
I said that, and I thought, "Oh, crap, I'm gonna set off my Amazon again."
Right.
Uh,
Right.
anyway, if they would have just introduced that show, without her introduction in the Hawkeye, series, I don't know how, interested I would have been in that, So, I I think it's a good way of crossing over to different shows and movies.
Mhm.
Um, I
Mhm.
mean, I'm enjoying it so far. Uh, I've liked the solo films, in the past, but I think if you look at the numbers, the team up movies do much better
Mhm.
than the solo films. Go back and look at Iron Man numbers. Iron Man did not get the numbers that the Avengers got. Uh,
Mhm.
now I think Cap might have been higher, but Cap again, it was kind of team up somewhat, semi
They're
team
all team
ups.
ups. Yeah. So I think there's something to be said for that. That's a great question. It's something I'll be paying attention to in the future.
Well, and
Is to see.
if they get a formula that works, they're going to stick with it until it doesn't work anymore. So
Right.
the
Yeah.
big
Good
question
point.
is, are they going to run it into the ground? That's the big question.
It is. Yeah. Sir John said, I heard a rumor that the Blade movie is heavy on the Black Knight content. I don't know.
Wait, who's Black
And
Knight? I don't know who Black
that's
Knight is.
from Eternals, and we haven't really watched that. So
Oh,
when it
gotcha.
comes out on Disney Plus, which is in a couple of next month, I think,
Yeah, I'll probably watch it when
then
they
we'll
get.
watch it, kind of a thing.
I
So
just did not. The trailers for Eternals did not excite me in one least bit. So yeah, I couldn't see going to pay money to go see that in the film on the big screen.
yeah.
So we'll hit that up when it comes on Disney Plus. We'll probably do a review of it.
Yep. Yep. Well, I want to talk in credits. I want to talk in credit scene. Let's get into that because we're talking Spider-Man. And what did
Uh,
you think about it?
oh, I can't
Was
wait.
it an in credit scene or was it a trailer?
I think it was more of a trailer. I
Yep.
really do. It's the introduction to Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness.
Yes.
And I am highly okay. Okay. Uh we forgot to talk about one of my predictions that I did go back on during our prelude to Spider-Man episode, because
Okay.
if you listen to our prelude to Spider-Man episode, we talked about the Spider-Man story, One More Day, because
Hmm.
I had been hearing that Spider-Man No Way Home was based off of the story of One More
One
Day.
more day.
Honestly, there was very little from One More Day. Very, very
Hmm.
little. I'm kind of glad that rumor got out there though, because it got me to read the story, and I enjoyed the story. I thought it was good.
Uh-huh.
Um, but one of my predictions, based on that, and based on some photos that were released on the internet, I predicted that Doctor Strange actually was not Doctor Strange. That Doctor Strange was actually Mephisto. Um, Partially it was because of the story, and partially because there is a scene in No Way Home where Doctor Strange is standing in front of the fireplace holding a coffee mug. Yep, yep. And it matches identically to I don't know where the scene comes from, but a comic book scene of Mephisto standing right in front of a fireplace, but he's holding more of a chalice.
That's
Uh,
the third comic
was
in
that
the
okay?
series.
So based on that, I
It was
made
the
the
big
prediction.
reveal.
Right. I made the prediction that Doctor Strange wasn't actually Doctor Strange. Now, in the post-credit scene, we get a moment of what looks like a Doctor Strange and it may be an evil Doctor Strange, which I am super excited about.
Yes, in the end credits. Yes. I was like, wah, wah. Yeah.
So we may get two versions of Doctor Strange, and I can't wait. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. We get
Yeah.
Mordo returns.
Yep.
Who is really one of the big, arch villains of Doctor Strange. And so I was glad to see him come back. I do like that actor. I never can pronounce his name correctly. So I so I would say I would say in regards to that looked real intriguing of having an evil Doctor Strange. And I don't
Yes.
know Doctor Strange well enough if that's, what part of storytelling that could be, or, comic book stories that could be or anything.
You know, I just recently watched a variant. If you guys don't know, variant comics on YouTube.
I really like his stuff.
Keonis Aris, I believe his name is, does a great job of breaking down tons and tons of comic books. Really, really like his channel. I would love to get him on this podcast. Actually,
Right.
I have sent him messages, but he's never responded to me. So, anyway, he's probably like, "Who are these two freaks?"
Right.
But no,
you don't
Aris,
get enough views for me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Aaron Keonis gets a lot of views. So, but he's been on for many years too.
He has been, and he does a great job. Does a really good job.
He does a lot of character breakdowns, and he did a character
Okay.
breakdown of Doctor Strange, which is a good episode. But he showed that they've had many iterations of Doctor Strange, and I know Marvel's done many iterations of several different characters. But yeah, I think this next movie might play a little into that, where we may see one of those types of iterations come into play in this next film. So I'm excited. I think it looks great. I think I'm gonna have to revisit the first Doctor Strange movie before it comes out, though.
Oh,
so
watch party.
there you go. And like I said earlier, I didn't think I'd like Doctor Strange, and I love that movie.
Right. Agreed. Well, we are already hitting at 123, an hour and 23. And
hey, and Sir John just said something about the Black Widow movie. He wasn't happy with the villain in it. It would have been a strong 9 or 10 for him, but he was really bad. And we've talked about that too in the past, where a lot of these films fail because of the villains, especially to my chagrin, the DC side.
right.
The DC side's done a horrible job on the villains. And I would say, Sir John, I would also say that the same can be said about Amazing Spider-Man 2, which we talked about earlier. They did a bad job with the villains in that, and Spider-Man 3, they did a bad job. Yeah, but I enjoyed Black Widow. I thought it was a good film. We did our review on that one too. You can go back and listen to that. But yeah, the villain probably could have been better. I agree. So, but overall, I liked the movie. I enjoyed her. I enjoyed her character. I thought she was great.
Yeah. And the introduction to Elena.
Yeah. Well, the introduction to Elena, we got her parents, which I really like the family dynamic, even though they're Russian spies.
Right. Right. Very much so.
No offense. I think we do have a Russian listener, and no offense to our Russian listener if you're listening.
So true. So true. All right. Well, we better wrap this up. And man, thanks everybody for hanging out with us and stuff. And so we're going to keep it going. We said we've got a lot coming up this week, and just a lot of stuff to keep up with. Again, Hawkeye finale, Wheel of Time finale, and we'll figure out when we're going to be able to do that. We've got Matrix Resurrections. That we've got all kinds of stuff that's coming up. So thanks for hanging out with us. Again, I'm Stephen Boster. This is Mike Shanks, and we appreciate you being with us. Check out our website at twogeeksmike.com. That's kind of our hub for everything there. It's going to be, you'll find our Facebook page, our Ko-fi page. If you want to help support us, that money goes to really pay for the streaming and all the stuff, and all the stuff that costs us money to do this.
Yeah, right. Well, and if you're watching us right now, please follow us on Twitch. We could use the followers.
Yep.
And if you haven't already, go like us on Facebook too. That always helps get us views. And if you see a post from us, please share it. Get the word out on our show and stuff. We appreciate all our listeners and viewers.
Yep. We have a good time. So, all right, Mike. Well, with that, you want to sign us out for this excellent episode of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. All right. With that said, I'll go back to the Spider-Man with great responsibility, or with great power.
You got it backwards.
I messed up. Dang it.
That's all right.
With great power comes great responsibility. Over and out. May the force be with you. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
may the force be with you.